Serengeti in Tanzania, and I'm really excited because tomorrow I'm going on a 3-day safari to the Serengeti, and after that I'm going to be visiting other national parks. So I'm super excited to do that and to be doing safaris again because it's been a while since I last went on safari. Particularly, I'm very excited to do safari in Tanzania in the Serengeti because it is one of the best places in the world to see big cats. So by big cats I mean lions, leopards, cheetahs, and leopards and cheetahs are a lot harder to see, but I am at least hoping to see a pack of lions because the last time I was able to see lions was years ago when I was in Kenya, and I've been super unlucky when it comes to seeing big cats in my previous safaris. I've only ever had that one good sighting of them in the Masai Mara years ago. So the Serengeti is actually one of the best places to see them. So I'm crossing my fingers that I'll get lucky for once and that I will actually get to see a few lions. And maybe if I get extra lucky, I'll get to see a few cheetahs and maybe even a leopard too. Something I might not get so lucky with, and that is the rain. So it has been raining today in Arusha. It has been pretty overcast and it did rain a couple of times. The sun has come out like just now, but I'm a bit worried that it's going to be raining all day tomorrow and the next day in the Serengeti, and that maybe I won't see as much wildlife because of it. Also, I'm pretty worried because I'm going to be camping, so this is something new for me. I've been on safaris before, but I've never been on a budget safari where the accommodation is camping. It's in like tents and sleeping bags. So I've never done that, and I think my first time is going to be with a lot of rain. So I don't know, let's see how that goes. I have a feeling it's gonna be pretty messy though. So I woke up at 5:30 in Arusha and hit the road to go to the Serengeti, and when I woke up it was pretty overcast, which really worried me because of course the weather affects your safari and how many animals you see, but it also affects my camping situation, and I have never camped in East Africa before. I have never camped while on safari, and I have never camped in the rain, so I didn't really want this to be my first time doing all those three things. Thankfully, after a while, the sky started clearing up and we headed over to Lake Manyara. So in Lake Manyara, we were picking up a few other girls who were joining me on this safari. So this is a joining safari, which basically means that when you book it, there's going to be other people that you don't know who book the same safari. And as a solo traveler, it is a great way to meet other people. It took about an hour and a half to get to Lake Manyara from Arusha, and after that the journey to the Serengeti was quite long, and the road from Ngorongoro onwards was gravel, so you can't really go at high speed, and it took a really long time to reach the Serengeti. Like, I think I left Arusha at 6 in the morning and I reached Serengeti at 6 in the afternoon, so it was a really long drive. But I honestly love long drives. I think they give you the chance to see a lot of different landscapes in just a few hours, and I think it's a great way to get to know a country, so I'm really grateful for this very long trip that I had. And also towards the end, as we were nearing the Serengeti and our campsite, we got to see a few animals. So we got the sighting of giraffes, which was really cool. Giraffes are also Tanzania's national animals, so I was really happy that this was one of the first animals that I saw. We also got to see tons of zebras and wildebeest, literally thousands of them, which was so cool. But honestly, this afternoon we went pretty much straight to our campsite. We were supposed to get an afternoon game drive, but we really didn't get it in my opinion. We saw a few animals, but we pretty much just went straight to the campsite, like I said. Okay, so this is the outside of the tent, so let me show you the inside. So it zips up right here. Okay, and you go inside, and here is like my sleeping bag, and I've got a mattress right here, my pillow over there, and I don't have a buddy, so it's all just my stuff, and it's pretty spacious, so that's pretty nice. The camping situation seems nice. I mean, the tent is big, it's pretty spacious, I'm here by myself. The mattress is quite comfortable actually, so I'll tell you tomorrow how I actually slept and if there's any animal noises, because it's pretty in the middle, like pretty much in the middle of the Serengeti, like it's in the middle of the wild, so I do imagine like if animals wanted to come here, they absolutely could, so I'll let you know about that in the morning. As for today's safari, the journey here took so much longer than I thought it would. Like, I thought it would take the whole morning to get from Arusha to the Serengeti, but it's more like an entire day. Like, it's 6:30 p.m. and we got at the campsite maybe at like 6 p.m. So not that long ago, really. And we did get to see some animals along the way and do a little bit of safari, but we pretty much went straight ahead towards the camping ground. So, it really takes the entire day. Like, I'd left at 6:40 this morning from Arusha and I got here at 6. So I slept super well in the campsite last night, and there's nothing quite like waking up in the middle of the wild to the sounds of birds and a beautiful sunrise. So this was actually an amazing experience, much better than I would have thought. So I'll tell you more about what it's like to camp in the Serengeti. I'm spending another night here, and I've actually got a lot of things to say on this topic and a lot of information that I think you should know if you're planning on doing something similar and if you want to camp in the Serengeti. But for now, let's go back to the animals and the safari, because I think that's probably the reason why you clicked on this video in the first place. So this is my first full day of safari in the Serengeti, which I am so excited for. It looks very similar to the Masai Mara, which I visited a few years ago. And the first sighting that we had right as we got in the car was more giraffes. So these animals are super pretty. I love seeing them, and they came so close to us. So this was a great sighting. And right next to them, we saw these impalas. So impalas, they're basically like big gazelles, and they're much more common than gazelles actually. And they're super common, but I really love seeing them because I think they're so graceful and so pretty. We also came across some hippos in a pool. It's so weird to think that these animals are actually some of the most dangerous in all of Africa. After mosquitoes, hippos are actually the animals that kill the most people in Africa because they're super territorial. But you could never think of that when you see them just so relaxed and playful in a pool of water. And finally, I got to see what I came here for. So I got to see a bunch of lions, which was so exciting. I'm not sure if you can see properly in this video because it's super bad quality. I was filming with my phone, but there's a few lions up there in the tree. I'll show you some photos that I took with my camera so you can see better. But this was amazing. It was so exciting. A couple of the lions actually jumped off and they started stalking this herd of wildebeest that was nearby, and they were going to hunt. So we waited there for a while. We actually did get to see the wildebeest running, but unfortunately we didn't get to see the lioness hunting her prey because she did get one. She did actually get a buffalo, but unfortunately we didn't get to see that. But still, it was so cool to just be around that and feel the excitement. Moving on, we got to see a few baboons, which I actually hate these animals. I really dislike them. And we also got to see a few wildebeest, a few zebras. So these animals are almost always together, and this is the beginnings of the Great Migration. Right now, the zebras and the wildebeest are kind of grouping together to go north and cross the Mara River into the Masai Mara and into Kenya. So this is the beginning of that, which was really cool to see. I can now officially say that I've seen the Great Migration, even though I haven't seen the river crossings. And then something very unexpected happened. So we were trying to find a place to have lunch and get out of the car, but when we reached a spot that seemed nice, there was a lion there, so we obviously couldn't get off the car, and we ended up deciding to have lunch inside the vehicle and just watch the lion as we ate lunch. So I ate a piece of chicken while watching a lion that was maybe like 2-3 meters away from me, which is wild to think about. There was actually one girl in the car that took her piece of chicken out the window and kind of dangled it in front of the lion, which was really funny, but also like extremely dangerous. Like, do not do that. It's also against park rules, by the way. So we got to see this lion kind of just laying around until he woke up and then went away. He was hurt in one of his legs, so he was limping a bit. And after that, we came across another big group of zebras and wildebeest. So we got to see thousands and thousands of zebras and wildebeest during this trip, which was really cool. Zebras are actually one of my favorite animals to see while on safari because I think, you can get amazing photographs of zebras. They're really photogenic and striking animals. And then, if you would believe it, we saw another lion, which was incredible. So he was resting on these rocks. So these rocks are called kopjes. They're basically big piles of granite. And I didn't see any in the Masai Mara, but there's lots of them in the Serengeti. And they make finding lions really easy because the lions like to rest on top of them. It was also really cool to see male lions because I didn't see any males in my previous safaris. And we thought that this one was alone, but turns out it had an entire family with it. So there was also a female lion, and they had 2 little cubs, which they were so cute. We also saw the cubs milking from the mom, like nursing on her. So that was really amazing. Honestly, probably the best lion sighting so far. It was so cool. So that was the end of our first day of safari, which was a very successful day, especially considering all the lions that we saw. I am definitely so happy with that. I got to see what I came here for, and hopefully tomorrow I will get to see maybe a leopard or a cheetah or something like that. I'm crossing my fingers for that. But anyways, right now we're going back to camp. We're staying at a place called Seronera Public Campsite. So besides our guide and our driver, there's someone also traveling with us who is responsible for putting up our tents and taking them down when we leave. And he also cooks all of our meals, so all of our breakfast, our lunches, our dinners. And this was something that I was actually really worried about before I did a camping safari, the quality of the food. And honestly, it was great. The food was really good. They were all homemade meals. This cook in particular, he did some amazing soups. They were all delicious. And we also got to have pizza, and we got to have a lot of vegetables, a lot of meat. So there were different choices that you could have. I never had a meal where I didn't like at least something. And I'm saying that as someone who is a very picky eater. As for the campsite itself, it is in the middle of the Serengeti. It is not fenced, so animals do come here occasionally. And particularly in this campsite, hyenas tend to come in at night to rummage through the garbage and try to get some food. They're not aggressive towards humans, so it's completely fine. And on my first night, I didn't really hear them. I didn't really hear them coming, which is testament to how well I slept, because if I had slept badly, I would have definitely heard them. When it comes to the bathroom situation, they're not great, honestly, but what else can you expect from a public campsite in the middle of nowhere? So if you're coming here, definitely bring your own toilet paper, definitely bring your own soap, otherwise you're going to find yourself in a very sticky situation, and you're definitely going to have to ask for these things from other campers. Something else that you should keep in mind is that it's a good idea to bring a flashlight or a headlamp, because of course at night there is no lights, and if you have to get out at night for whatever reason, you are going to need to have a flashlight, particularly considering that there are animals around. And it's also a good idea for you to bring a power bank for your phone, because we also had a bit of a problem with electricity in the camp. The only thing is that the electrical plugs don't work here, so we can't plug our phones to charge them, which is a problem, but we've kind of solved them. There was this very nice South African man who let me charge my phone in his car, so that was great. That was a lifesaver. And then we charged our phones in the safari jeep as well during today's safari. It was amazing. We got to see so many animals, and we did get to see many lions, which was amazing. We got to see them really close up, and we saw males, we saw females, we saw babies. So I'm still hoping for a cheetah, which we haven't seen yet, but there's still tomorrow, and I'm still doing 2 national parks after Serengeti, so fingers crossed that I will get to see one. So my second night in the Serengeti was also great. I got to sleep really well too. And I did actually get to hear the hyenas on this night, but I didn't really mind them being there because I know that they don't do anything to humans. But this was actually our last morning in the Serengeti, so last game drive in this beautiful national park. And the wildlife in the Serengeti is obviously amazing, but the landscapes are too. They are so beautiful. Serengeti actually means endless plain, which is such a fitting name. And during this time of the year, I traveled in May, they are also so green, which I love to see. So on this morning, we got to see some pretty giraffes, some hyenas, which we hadn't seen up close before, some guinea fowl, and we came across this poor baby wildebeest. So it was separated from its herd, and it was very vulnerable to being attacked by predators because it was alone, and it was also getting really tired and exhausted from trying to get back to its herd. So this was sad to see, but it is Mother Nature. And I don't actually have photographic evidence for this, but we got to see not 1, but 2 leopards, which was so cool. So the first leopard that we saw, it was on a tree, and as soon as we got close, it ran off. So leopards are very shy animals, which is why they're very difficult to see in the wild, but we did get to see this one running off, so I think it counts. The second leopard that we saw was super far away on a tree, so I got a great sighting of it through binoculars, but unfortunately it was just too far away for me to get a good photo of it. but you know, I got to see it in real life, in real time, even if I don't have the photographic evidence for it. So this was also amazing to see. I am very happy with these sightings, and it was really, really cool. We also came across these elephants, and I was honestly surprised that we didn't see more of them, because I remember when I was just across the border in the Masai Mara, we saw so many of them, but these were the only elephants that we saw in the Serengeti. And after this, it was time to leave, which was so sad, but it was okay because we're going to the Ngorongoro crater, which is another great place for safari, and you'll get to see that in my next YouTube video. So remember to subscribe and follow along for that. And as we were going to the Ngorongoro, we actually came across these two lions lying by the side of the road, which was so cool because we were not doing a safari anymore. We were not on a game drive. We were just driving along, and we just saw these two guys, which I think it's amazing that you can just drive in this part of Tanzania and see so many animals. But yeah, that was the end of my safari in the Serengeti. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful if you're planning on doing a camping safari as well. And remember to subscribe, and again, just follow along for my next few videos in Ngorongoro and in Tanzania.